Faye. I'm bringing you a challenge to make the most beautiful flower embellishments. This is to inspire you for spring, for summer, any time of the year. I have created all of these paper flowers by hand. They are absolutely stunning. This started out with making flowers for a swap that I was hosting, and then it just turned into inspo. So I want to inspire you. I've made extras for myself to keep in my stash, and then others to give away in this swap or happy mail. So I hope that you will join me, and I will share with you the dies that I used, the machines I used, punches that I've used, and let you know if I even used any dies at all, because some of these just required some scissors and glue. Let's get started. I have different flowers here that I cut out on the Cricut Joy machine, and I use Cricut Design Space for the file. I have others that I've cut here on my brother's Scan and Cut, and these were files that were already on my machine. And then some were with punches, some I used dies, and I will share those dies with you. And then others I just did by hand. Okay, so let's jump into it. I'm going to share with you a little bit of everything. We have different sizes, different colors, we have different centers. So with all of the different flowers here, actually I've never even counted how many different flowers I've made. So that will be something I have to do. Okay, so first we'll start with this die here. I purchased this die off of Temu. And these are the flowers that I created with this plate. And I absolutely love this plate because you can cut out all the different sizes, and then you can just layer your flowers. And this is how I chose to do these. So I did these all in the color combo that my swap partner wanted. So all of these flowers that I share will be in the white, pinks, reds, and yellows theme, in that color combo. Use these dies, layered them, and this is what I created with all of these. And I just did all in white. I just did several cuts in yellow, and these are absolutely stunning. I love how they turned out. They're so pretty. And then of course I did the pinks and then a darker red. So I've cut several of these, and then I will keep some for myself and then also give some to my swap partner. But I layered these, and I cut, there's 3 different sizes here. Actually, I think there's more than that. So I did a larger one and then I did a smaller one here, as you can see. And then in the center, I put a stone, and these stones were a espresso stone. And I think that, I'm pretty sure they came from Pink Fresh. I don't have that packaging here because I think that I used the last of them. So I'm going to share with you the next one. So these just turned out absolutely gorgeous. I love them. So that was this die. I will link the videos below where I share all the flower dies. Okay, next, let me share with you these pretties. So these are from my die as well. And then I put stickles in the center. I did a yellow stickles in the center on top of the yellow center. And these were cut with a die that I purchased at a scrapbook garage sale. These are from Tailored Expressions. And let's see. So it was $9.99, and then we purchased it for $1. What a bargain at a scrapbook garage sale. And it doesn't say the name of this die. So this was purchased a while ago. It was in our stash. Oh, excuse me. Bloomers 4. Bloomers 4 is the name of this die. And this is how it turned out with the yellow and white. So those are darling. And then next, let's go with some that I cut on my brother's Scan and Cut. This was a file that I cut on my brother's Scan and Cut, and I cut out the center in a red foam glitter from Spellbinders, and then I cut out on just a red cardstock, centered it with some little stones in a pack that I purchased. This was a while ago. This is a Mom and I stash, and this came from Hobby Lobby. So I went with the cream like white for the center of those flowers. Let's continue here with some pink layered with a buttoned center. And these were cut on my brother's Scan and Cut. I cut out quite a few. I did it in the light pink and in the dark pink. You can really change it up with the colored papers and layering. And then just a pink center button. Great way to use up those buttons. Here's one that I cut on my Cricut Joy. And this has a pattern paper, solid colored cardstock, and then a white colored cardstock. And again, the center is with those pink little jemmies, flat backs, and that's here. And these were purchased at Hobby Lobby. Next, I did this fun one on the Brothers Scan and Cut. So this file was already on the Brothers Scan and Cut, and then I took a light pink paper, and then I splattered paint with a paintbrush, and I did acrylic white and pink here. So the cameo pink and the just acrylic white here. I guess it's called titanium white. Show titanium white. I splattered that, and then I also did some acrylic in this pink here. It's a pearl paint, and then a lighter pink here. So that was splattered onto the paper after the paper flowers after I cut them on my Brothers Scan and Cut. And then in the center, I did pearl flatbacks, and those were purchased from Hobby Lobby and were in a recent Hobby Lobby haul. So as you can see here, there's the different sizes. Okay, next I did this flower, and this flower was cut on my Brothers Scan and Cut, a file already on it. And I just did different color yellow cardstocks, and then I inked the edges and did stickles in the center to give it some dimension. So you don't always have to have centerpieces. I inked the edges with the distressed Tim Holtz Distressed Oxide in Mustard Seed Yellow. And then the stickles that I used were, what color is it? I guess it doesn't say. Unless I'm blind and I can't, but I don't think so. It doesn't say the color on this one. But it's like a yellow color, a neon yellow. And then I also did it in this color, which is lime green. I did these on the Brothers Scan and Cut with a printed paper. The big part of the flower, the centers, I cut with vellum. And then I cut them with these scissors here, and did my own little center with some score tape and then rolled them. If you're interested in how I did those centers by hand, you can let me know in the comments, and I'd love to share a tutorial on how I did that. These here have another button center, a red button center. I did a darker red paper, and these were cut on my Brothers Scan and Cut, different layers. The files for the flower were already on the machine, and then I just layered those and then used my score tool to round and curve them. Next, we have a die. These flowers were cut with a die, and I will show you that die here. Let me find it. And it makes this flower here, layered and then spread out. So I used a little center stone there, and that was from a recent haul from Hobby Lobby, and that's for the yellow little center stone here that I glued. So I cut these all out in the red paper and then layered. I didn't use the center, I just centered with the stone. So they turned out really pretty. And then I curved those with my little score tool. Next, these were also cut with a die, and I cut them in the light pale yellow as well as pink and white, and I layered those. So the sheet for those were a die that looks like this, and they were purchased from Temu or Amazon. Let me turn it this way, it might be better to be able to see. So you cut all the layers at once. It's really nice, and then you can layer. You can change up the papers. The possibilities are truly endless. So this has the pearl flat back in the center. It's an iridescent pearl, and these were actually sticker ones, so I don't have any more. I used them all on this, so I can't share the packaging with you, but those were in my stash. Next, I'll share with you some punches. So these were done with a punch, and I just took little scraps of the different papers that I used throughout making all of these flowers to create these flowers here, and the punch is right here. This is the punch that I used. Let's see, does it say? I think it's a Martha Stewart. Yes, it's a Martha Stewart punch. I've had it for a while. It's been in Mom and I's stash. We use it constantly. And so I just punched, and then I centered those with a little clay chip. And I purchased these recently in my last Joann's haul. And I just did yellow to match the color combo theme. And those were done with punches. And then these were done with a die. And it was a plate die where you can just do several at a time. And I just used one layer of that flower, one punch, and I did them in white, as you can see, and in pink. And they turned out absolutely stunning. And again, I just used a center stone. I don't have any more of these. These were sticky ones that were to embellish the center, and they were purchased at Walmart, the centers. So you could just get the silver centers, and they're really inexpensive. So I love how those turned out. Here's another that I used and designed. Very simple, very easy, but they stand out and they look amazing. And these were done with, believe it or not, a punch. And these were done with that same punch that I used to do this. I just used the punch on a gold metallic paper that I purchased recently in a haul. You can find it from Michael's. And then and so I did 2 layers of the flower, and then I did the center with these that were in a recent haul from Hobby Lobby, and these are from Bead Design Co. We got them when they were 50% off. And they just make these flowers stand out and pop, don't they? And you would never guess that these flowers were made with a simple punch. And that was with the Martha Stewart, again, a punch that we've had in our craft room for quite a while, for many years now. And next, let's share another punch. These little guys were made with a punch that is similar to the big punch, but it has 3 little flowers, and it's also Martha Stewart. So we've had this in our stash for a while. I layered those, and I layered them, and then I put and that was a scrap paper from this swap, and then I put in the center a little pearl, flat back pearl, and that was from these, where you can get all the different sizes in the cream and white from Hobby Lobby. So simple, but yet so sweet and great to embellish cards, to embellish scrapbooks, all kinds of embellishments for paper crafting, you name it. Here we'll continue with another small little flower. This is layered twice. So this was cut on a die, and this die is here. I purchased it off of Temu, and it is actually for a bouquet, but I decided just to use the plate here and not make it a bouquet. So here you can see. And then in the center, I just did the center with a little gold embellishment center, and that's here. This was also purchased at Hobby Lobby, and it has all the different sizes from very tiny to the larger stone. And these are in gold and silver, and I used the gold. I did this one with a die, and these are sunflowers. And these sunflowers were cut with a die, and I will share that die with you here. So it does come with the stem, and it came with the center and a leaf, but I just did the flower and the center, and that was it to create these sunflowers. So sometimes when you get dies, you don't have to use every piece, you know? You can really change it up, and that's how you can make it unique. Okay, so these were cut on my Cricut Joy. I did a shimmer paper here that had flowers already on it, and then I did the metallic paper in the pink, the same paper but different color that I used for here, and I did it in like a pink color. And then I put 3 stones in the center. I rounded it, and the center has 3 of these little jimmies here, and I used the light pink, and these were purchased from Hobby Lobby. Loving those. These were also cut on my Cricut Joy. So this was a file from Cricut Design Space. I layered it and glued it. And then these little center pieces here, I put some glue. And then there were some little stones here that came from Queen & Company that I purchased at a scrapbook garage sale. So I just glued those in the center to give these flowers some dimension and texture. Very, very pretty. These were cut on my Cricut Joy as well. There's 3 different layers here. We have some printed cardstock there, and then solid red and yellow. And then in the center, I just glued one little flat back stone, a yellow one, again from this Hobby Lobby little container. Then these were cut on Cricut Joy. We have some vellum little hearts here in yellow, gold center glittered paper, and then a cardstock that is printed twice. And I layered it. So there's 4 layers here in these flowers. They're more of a flat flower. That was from Cricut Design Space, Cricut Joy. I cut them on, as well as these, but I pop-up dotted these. And then again, you will see the gold paper from Michaels. We have some foiled paper here, and then white cardstock. These were cut from a die. They're absolutely stunning. I glued and I curled these with and shaped them to round them. And then I layered and glued, and then in the center I stickled with rose gold. They turned out absolutely beautiful, and these were cut with a die, and that die is here. I believe I purchased this from Temu or on Amazon. They turned out fabulous. These were cut on my Cricut Joy, and Cricut Design Space was the file, and then in the center I just did a little pearlescent stone in the center, and they turned out really, really pretty. These were cut with a die that I purchased from a scrapbook garage sale, so I don't know that it's available anymore. I purchased the die for $2. I believe it was from what is this called? Simple Life or something like that. So I layered these, but I embossed the paper first, then I cut the die, I layered it, glued it, and then put a pink button for the center, and then I used some of this Korean wrap for the center just to give it some texture. And I purchased this on Temu. I will link the video below so you can go find that if you're interested. Let's go to some rolled paper flowers. I'm not the best at these, but I still love them, so I made a few to share, because how can I share a flower inspo video without some hand rolled flowers? So these I did in some different pinks, red and white, and then I put the center with a full-on pearl from Tim Holtz. And this was in our stash, Mom and I stash. We have several of these containers that we filled up with some Tim Holtz pearls that we've collected over the years. So I don't even know if they're still available, but those turned out really pretty. And those were cut with a die that I had in my stash. And that die, and here it is, it's called 3D Flowers from Studio Light. So if you're interested, and you can also cut on, yeah, they also have files online that you can do SVGs, and I have some other as well dies, but that's the one I use for those flowers. Here I did some flowers with some daisies, and these daisies were cut with a bow. This is actually a die that's for a daisy bow die, and I purchased this on Amazon, and so it's been in my stash. And it is here, but I didn't use the bow part. You've probably seen, if you're a viewer of mine, then you've probably seen me use the actual bow die part. But in this particular flowers, I just used these 3 pieces and not the bow and leaf greenery. So I just used these 3, and it created this beautiful little daisy flower, and layered it, and then I used some glitter yellow paper in the center for the daisy. I have this die, and I created some pink, white, and red flowers here. And these are layered, and then I used a little pearl flat back center, and they turned out absolutely beautiful. And what I love about these plate dies is they have how many different sizes here, as you can see. So then you can just layer those, and this is what it looks like. It's absolutely beautiful, and actually pretty quick to just die cut a bunch of these several times. And then this is what you're able to just put together and have, so you can have bulk do that and have it in your stash. I used a very small pearl center. Oh, there we go. Let's focus here from Hobby Lobby. These are awesome packs because they have all the different sizes. So it's really perfect for flower making. These were cut from a die as well. I love the texture in this die. I will link it if I can find it on either or the video. But these were layered, and like I said, I love how it has little cuts there. I did it in how many different colors of pink, and then I layered and put a center in there of a pearl, like layered pearl flat back cabochon, whatever you want to call it. So those turned out really pretty. Next, I have this plate die. I'm loving these plate dies, and if you've seen my hauls, then you will have seen these. But I cut a bunch, and these are just 1 layered flowers. That's what I love about it. It's quick. Cut it out in several different colors, and then you just put a little center. And I put a little flat back gold pearl type of center, and that center is here in this pack from Hobby Lobby. So fun, so pretty, and great to have ready for embellishing. Okay, let's see what's next. Then I have these beauties, which I did in glitter green paper and glitter pink paper, and these were cut with a die. These were cut with this die. I'm not sure where I purchased this die. It may have been one that I've just had in my stash for years, or it might be one that I purchased on Amazon. I'm not really sure. I will be sure to link it below if I can find it. Again, I just layered and then put a center little flat back stone from the little pack from Hobby Lobby, and that's a pink stone. But I love a little bling. I love a glitter, so those turned out really fun. Then my last flowers, I created this paper on my own. So I started out with a light yellow cream, as you can see on the back side. And then I oxidized and sprayed yellows with the Tim Holtz Distress Oxide sprays. And I did it in different yellows. Then I die cut that paper with these dies. And then I did a brad in the center, a green brad, to hold it all together. So I love how those turned out. I love the layer and the texture, and I love the textured paper with this like embossed edging from that die, and then with the oxide spray and just making it your own. It gives it dimension and it just gives it character, and so I really love that. So I have been creating flowers for several weeks now, and this is what I've created. I love how they all turned out. I can't wait to use these in some upcoming projects and also to share with my swap partner. I hope that she loves them. I will continue to create and make more flowers and use these dies in different ways with different papers in the future, so stay tuned for those fun things. If you'd like to know what else that I used or have any questions, just leave them in the comments below and I'd be happy to answer them. My favorite things to use in gluing these things, I used E6000, Barely Art Glue. I used these little foam squares from Dollar Tree. I used score tape, which I love. It's one of my favorites. And then I also used a glue gun where needed as well. Thanks for watching, y'all. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and like it. Leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. Happy crafting.